Financial planning has not only failed you, the game is rigged. It is keeping you poor and creating the worst habits. Yeah, you know their marketing. Hey, just set it and forget it. Invest early, often, and always. The market always eventually goes up. Diversify, and you're in it for the long haul. That sound familiar? Well, and I said diversify instead of diversify. If you don't know the money habits that are being reinforced by those that benefit from you staying in the dark, financial independence, financial freedom, or financial well-being will always be out of reach. I remember my early indoctrination in the accumulation retirement plan, stock market, and mutual fund-driven financial model. I was 19 years old and getting paid to be part of the propaganda, to keep the story going and the habit of ignorance alive and well in my clients. I had all the mountain charts showing a volatile market always trending up. I had the chart showing that if you only invested early enough, you'd have so much more in the future. I had those marketing pieces that compared investments that led to more risk as being the ones that would pay off the most, without ever showing them possibly fail completely, which actually happens. I thought that using fancy terminology and jargon made me sound smarter and would have more people invest with me. But this was all reinforcing the worst financial habits, and those are the habits that keep people poor. So I figured out there was 9 of the most commonly accepted ways that people handle money that creates poverty instead of prosperity. Let's start with number 1, speculation. Chasing returns without any plan. Speculation says, hey, let's just focus on risk. There was no consideration for efficiency. That speculation would say, high risk equals high return, and if you just wait long enough, it's all going to pay off, and you got to get in the stock market because growth funds outperform bonds and all of that kind of stuff that leads to this gambling mentality. Most people don't know where they're investing. They don't know how the investment works. They haven't thought about the risk management or how to protect the downside. And no one was really talking to me about efficiency. Efficiency is about how do you save on tax? How do you save on interest? How do you find and detect where there's fees that are robbing you of the growth of your plan? Where is there improper design of insurance that leads to duplicate coverages or improper structure robbing you of wealth? Everything with speculation has us believe that our return is predicated upon taking far too much risk and that we've got to chase that risk without a plan. That's why so many people get caught up in real estate when it's going really well, but then up over leveraging and losing, or get caught up in cryptocurrency without knowing what they're doing, or get involved in trading and options and getting in the stock market during times of bull runs, but not prepared for those bear markets. So that was just the first habit, is speculating, not knowing what you're doing. The second one is to accumulate instead of focus on cash flow. This will keep people poor. Be a passive investor rather than creating passive income. See, there's no measuring the progress or having contingency plans when it comes to retirement planning, when it comes to mutual funds, when it comes to be overly reliant on a highly volatile speculative market. That is all about waiting till one day, someday. When people lock their money up in retirement plans, that is a poverty mentality. That is a poverty process. And yet it's what most people have been taught, trained, and indoctrinated on. So first thing, speculate. Second, accumulate. Step 1 and step 2 of poverty type thinking. Now the third one is never consider who you are as an investor or know investor DNA. Investor DNA is your values, it's your competencies, it's your drivers. Drivers are what make you interested in something so that you want to gain knowledge. Competencies are where you have a degree of expertise or where you've got a skill set. And values are the things that matter to you. When we look and focus on that, that's our investor DNA. But most people are never taught to become good investors. They only are taught to rely on a market they don't understand. The stock market, real estate, and crypto being the big 3. So when you aren't in your investor DNA, or you're taught just to passively invest and not be proactive whatsoever, when you're taught to rely on experts that are just financial salespeople separating you from your money, when you think mutual funds and diversification will get you there, those are habits of poverty. So speculate, accumulate, and don't learn to invest. Now the fourth one is don't take responsibility. Don't take responsibility for the outcomes of your income. Don't take responsibility of the allocation of your investments. Just simply spread yourself thin, diversify. No responsibility, blame others when it doesn't work out. Blame the market, blame the advisor. Don't know what you're doing. This is absolutely an easy thing to see around poverty, yet it's still what we're trained, taught, and indoctrinated on, is not to be responsible for our money because we don't have the time, because we don't have the knowledge, because we just have to rely on everyone else. And when we rely on experts rather than utilize them, that lack of responsibility robs us of prosperity. Hey, I know I'm interrupting, but it's because if you go to garrettgunderson.com/quiz, you can figure out your money persona. When you know your money persona, you'll be able to make better choices when it comes to your finances, understand where you've made mistakes and missteps and what was the psychology behind that, and really improve how you view money and how you work with other people with different money personas. So garrettgunderson.com/quiz, no charge, discover your results, and go ahead and comment and let us know what it was. Now the fifth one is no automation. It takes effort to deliberately do something every single day. So I'm not about automatically investing. Instead, automatically save by paying yourself first. Then when there's allocated funds, you can deliberately invest. Automatically save, deliberately invest. Most of the poor habits are to skip that step of saving and speculate, but call it investing. Automatically investing in a retirement plan that's allocated in investments that are volatile and they're hard to understand and are spread thin. So instead, automatically save, deliberately invest. When you have the capital, then you can look, is it time to pay off a loan? Is it time to invest in something you know and understand? But that, again, takes us to, you can't just speculate. You've got to know your investor DNA. Create cash flows so you have financial independence rather than accumulating for 30 years. And ultimately, automate your savings. All right, the sixth one, being inefficient is a habit of poverty. Simply buying supplemental insurance without knowing whether it's a benefit. Taking more risk, as I said with the speculation, hoping that stretches out and gets you a better return. Waiting for the long haul, not knowing whether it's working out or not. Instead, plug your financial leaks first. There's 4 I's to efficiency: IRS, interest, investments, and insurance. Take back and reclaim money that's rightfully yours by knowing your tax strategy. Make sure you have the lowest interest rates by having the right credit, the right cash flow, the right reporting on your finances, and ultimately good collateral. There's ways you can lower your interest rates, or even having your own cash flow bank that you could borrow from there rather than an institution and get much better interest rates, or even borrowing from a retirement plan so you have better interest rates than just going to the institution directly. See, it's about plugging these leaks. And there's so many hidden fees, so many commissions that are robbing people of their money. I want you to find that money, put it back in your pocket so you get further ahead without taking more risk. Inefficiency is part of the reason people stay stuck in poverty. Now, the seventh thing is to skip steps. There's so many people that are allocating money towards a retirement plan before they built up a savings account, that are putting money in a retirement plan before they've retired double-digit interest rates in a credit card. People putting money nowhere simply because they're just working so hard and spending every dollar they earn because they're told, well, you work hard, you deserve to go buy that thing that you can't afford and get a loan on it. Skipping steps where you have high interest rates rather than paying those off and investing out of order, or not having enough liquidity that we can increase our deductibles on our insurance and save money on insurance, or hire the right tax professional to save taxes. If we're just automatically setting money into a retirement plan, locking our funds up for very long periods of time without creating cash flow, and speculating with the investments that are inside of it, being overly reliant on a stock market we have no control over. This is the reason why so many people are stuck in poverty, and the U.S. Department of Labor says 95% of people are not able to retire at age 65 because they've not got the financial wherewithal. It wasn't because of lack of effort. It's because of these 9 habits we're talking about, which takes us to number 8. Diversification is a strategy for the wealthy that are trying to preserve their capital. Yet it's promoted to the masses, saying it's too hard to understand, just diversify. If something works and something doesn't, at least you don't lose everything. Diversification spreads us thin. It removes us from being knowledgeable about the value of our investing and our investor DNA. It is a habit of the poor unless you have substantial money that you're trying to preserve. To diversify and try to grow are at odds. And yet it's the thing you're going to hear so many people say, diversify, 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 diversify. You just hear them say it till they're blue in the face. It's almost like admission of ignorance. They don't know what's going to work. I don't know, buy some of this, some of that. Hopefully one thing works, but the more you have, the more fragmented you become. The more chance some of these things don't work out, and they start to chip away at your psyche. It is totally a habit of poverty. And then the 9th one is not developing the most crucial, important pieces of capital. There's 3 forms of capital. One that everybody knows about, financial capital. Most people want more financial capital. They're willing to work tirelessly for it. They sacrifice and toil in the trenches for it. They trade time for money for it. But when we invest that hard work in the form of our capital in the things we don't know, it is a habit of the poor. The two more precious forms of capital are mental capital, ideas, knowledge, wisdom, insight, strategies, and tools. Increase your mental capital, invest in yourself, and our relationship capital. People, networks, organizations, mentors, friends, and family. When I invest, I want to build and grow my mental and relationship capital. If I skip and only look at financial capital without knowing how all of it works, it means I'm speculating. It means we go right back to these habits of poverty. Speculation, accumulation, no investor DNA, no personal responsibility, no automation to automatically save and pay ourselves first. Being inefficient yet taking risk. Skipping steps where we don't have peace of mind in funds and liquidity in case the right opportunities come or something happens that's unexpected, or do we diversify by spreading ourselves thin? All of this leads to limiting our mental and relationship capital. The most precious forms of capital are our mental and relationship capital. How can you make deposits? Because if you feel stuck right now, you might be one idea or one relationship away from the next level of prosperity. That idea, when it comes to investing, is your investor DNA. When it comes to relationship capital, who can you learn from? Right here you're learning. Where can you learn? In the areas that you want to gain expertise to be a better investor. You've been lied to. You've been told you don't have the time. You could never have the expertise. You have to rely on people that went to an Ivy League school that are so genius, and they'll know how to invest your money. The problem is they all are competing in the same pool of stocks and bonds, and ultimately we start to see what happens with volatility, with losses, with fees, and it really starts to impact our feelings and emotions as people that have worked so hard for that money. These things keep us poor when we're stuck in those 9 habits. So automatically save, build up your liquidity. Deliberately invest by investing in yourself and knowing your investor DNA. Focus on cash flow so you become financially independent rather than rely upon a market you have no control over. Learn these types of things. Invest in yourself. It will make all the difference, and you're here investing this time, so I'm going to continue to help you out to put more money in your pocket, to plug financial leaks, to create financial independence by clicking through and watching the other videos, by giving you tools and resources that help to empower you so you aren't reliant upon an institution and their expertise or lack of expertise determining your future. Hey, Garrett Gunderson here, and I just want to say thanks. It's been great putting together videos and knowing that they're being watched, and so I hope that you enjoy this. And if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in the comments. I film videos often to answer longer questions to help people out, because that's what this channel is all about. It's about engagement. It's about connecting. It's about helping people understand a normally complex topic that is so dry and drab that people have kind of given up. But it's time to have the courage to face this, laugh along the way, and put more money into your life.